Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right, affirming, visualizing, praying, yet the universe seems to have you on mute? Like you're shouting your desires into a void that simply doesn't care? What if I told you that the problem isn't the universe ignoring you, but rather the way you've been taught to ask for what you want? What if, instead of asking at all, you were meant to command? I know that might sound bold, perhaps even arrogant to some, but stay with me here because what you're about to discover might completely transform the way you interact with the creative forces of the universe. See, most of us have been conditioned to approach our desires from a place of lack, of begging, of hoping that somehow, someday, if we're lucky enough, our dreams might materialize. We've been taught to be spiritual beggars when we were born to be divine commanders. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Now, think about this for a moment. When you want something in your life, maybe it's financial abundance, a loving relationship, vibrant health, or simply peace of mind, how do you typically approach it? Do you whisper timid prayers, hoping someone or something out there might grant your wish? Do you repeat affirmations while secretly doubting they'll actually work? Has this ever happened to you? You try all the manifestation techniques, you do the vision boards, you watch the videos, you read the books, yet nothing seems to shift in your reality. Here's what Joseph Murphy understood that most people miss entirely. The universe doesn't respond to begging energy. It doesn't answer to desperation or neediness. The creative intelligence that orchestrates galaxies, that transforms seeds into forests, that beats your heart without you having to think about it. This intelligence responds to one thing above all: certainty. It responds to the voice of authority. It responds to command. This isn't about being demanding or entitled. This is about understanding your true relationship with the infinite power that governs all of existence. You are not separate from this power. You are not a tiny, insignificant speck hoping for scraps from the cosmic table. You are an expression of divine intelligence itself, and when you speak from that place of knowing, the entire universe must rearrange itself to match your words. But here's where most people go wrong, and this is crucial. They speak words of power one moment, and then immediately cancel them out with doubt the next. It's like planting a seed and then digging it up every single day to check if it's growing. The very act of checking reveals a lack of faith, and that lack of faith becomes the dominant signal you're broadcasting into the universe. What you're about to discover in this message is how to shift from the energy of hoping to the energy of knowing, from wishing to commanding, from begging to claiming what is rightfully yours. Because before this month ends, there's still time to transform your entire reality, but it requires a fundamental shift in how you use your mind, your words, and your faith. Stay with me until the end, because we're about to explore exactly why your previous attempts may have fallen short, and more importantly, what you can do differently starting right now to finally break through the invisible barrier that's been standing between you and everything you desire. Look, I understand the frustration because I've seen it thousands of times. You've tried the affirmations, haven't you? You've stood in front of the mirror repeating positive statements until your voice went hoarse. You've created vision boards, meticulously cutting out images of your dream life and sticking them on a board that now collects dust in your closet. You've lit candles, set intentions under full moons, followed every manifestation ritual you could find on the internet, and yet here you are, still waiting for something, anything, to shift in your reality. If this resonates with you and you want more content that actually transforms rather than just entertains, go ahead and subscribe. I'm here creating these deep dives into manifestation, consciousness, and the principles that genuinely work, and I'd love to have you as part of this journey. It's not that these methods are completely wrong, it's that they're incomplete. They're missing the most critical element that Joseph Murphy spent his entire life teaching. See, the universe doesn't have selective hearing. It hears everything. The problem is that it's hearing the wrong signal from you. While your lips are saying one thing, your energy, your true belief system, is broadcasting something entirely different. And guess which signal the universe responds to? Not the words you speak, but the frequency you genuinely embody. This is the hidden truth behind why so many people fail at manifestation. They collect books like trophies. They consume content promising instant transformation. They write elaborate goals in expensive journals, and they genuinely believe they're doing the work. They watch videos claiming to raise their vibration in 24 hours. They download guided meditations. They join manifestation challenges, and month after month passes with minimal results. That inner voice grows louder, more skeptical, asking the question you've probably asked yourself in quiet moments of doubt. Will this ever actually work for me? Am I just fooling myself? Here's what most manifestation teachers won't tell you because it doesn't sell as well. You can't trick the universe. You can't paste affirmations over deep-seated beliefs in unworthiness and expect miracles. You can't visualize abundance while your internal dialogue is constantly rehearsing lack. The universe is responding perfectly to what you truly believe, not to what you're pretending to believe. This is why the journey of manifestation isn't just about techniques and rituals. It's about a fundamental transformation in how you see yourself in relationship to the creative power of existence. Joseph Murphy understood that commanding the universe isn't about volume or repetition. It's about conviction. It's about speaking from a place so deep within you that doubt doesn't even have a seat at the table. When you issue a command from this place, there's no second guessing, no checking to see if it worked, no anxiety about the timing. There's only knowing. And that knowing carries a frequency so pure, so aligned with the laws of mind and spirit, that manifestation becomes inevitable. Now, I want to go even deeper into this, because understanding why your previous attempts fell short is only half of the equation. The real transformation happens when you discover the exact mechanism through which your mind creates your reality, and more importantly, how to consciously direct that mechanism with precision and power. The shift from hoping to commanding isn't just semantic, it's a complete rewiring of your relationship with the invisible forces that shape your experience. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to command," if this resonates with where you are right now. The mechanism I'm talking about operates on a principle that sounds simple, but requires profound internal alignment to master. Think about it this way. When you go to a restaurant, you don't walk up to the server and beg them to possibly consider maybe bringing you food if it's not too much trouble. You don't plead with uncertainty in your voice, hoping they might take pity on you. No, you look at the menu, make a decision, and place an order. You speak with natural authority because you understand the relationship between customer and establishment. You expect to receive what you ordered. That's certainty in action. This is precisely the energy the universe recognizes and responds to. Not begging, not hoping, not the desperate pleading that comes from a place of fear and lack. The creative intelligence that Joseph Murphy spent decades studying responds exclusively to certainty and authority. When you approach your desires from a position of spiritual authority, understanding that you are not separate from the power that creates worlds, everything shifts. The language of the universe isn't complaint, isn't negotiation, isn't bargaining, it's command. But here's where the real revelation happens. And this is something that completely transformed my own journey with these principles. Your words are not neutral. They're not just sounds you make that disappear into thin air. Every single word you speak, every thought you consistently repeat, is a spiritual order being placed into the invisible kitchen of creation. You are literally ordering your future experiences through the patterns of your thinking and speaking. The problem most people face is they don't realize they've been ordering from the wrong menu. When you say things like, "I never have enough money," "Things never work out for me," "I'm always struggling," you think you're just describing your current reality. But what you're actually doing is placing an order for more of the same. You're commanding the universe to deliver exactly that. Experience to you again and again. The universe doesn't judge your order. It doesn't say, "Are you sure you want more struggle?" It simply says, "Your wish is my command," and gets to work preparing your order. This is why the shift from begging to declaring is so monumentally important. Instead of saying, "Please, universe, give me abundance," which carries the vibration of lack and desperation, you must declare, "Abundance is mine. It's already on its way." Do you feel the difference in those statements? One comes from a beggar hoping for scraps. The other comes from someone who understands their divine right to prosperity. One is asking permission. The other is claiming ownership. Joseph Murphy taught that your subconscious mind is like fertile soil. It doesn't care what you plant. It will grow weeds just as readily as it will grow flowers. Plant thoughts of lack, and you'll harvest experiences of poverty. Plant thoughts of limitation, and you'll harvest experiences of restriction. But plant thoughts spoken with authority, with certainty, with the conviction that what you declare is already done in the spiritual realm, and watch how quickly your physical reality rushes to match that inner knowing. The hidden truth behind all manifestation is this: you're not trying to convince the universe to give you something. You're instructing your own subconscious mind to accept a new pattern, a new truth, a new reality. And when your subconscious fully accepts this new instruction, when it believes without question that abundance is yours, that success is natural, that prosperity is your birthright, it goes to work behind the scenes, rearranging circumstances, attracting opportunities, and orchestrating events that bring your declaration into physical form. Put in the comments, "Abundance is mine," if you're ready to shift from asking to declaring. This brings us to something absolutely crucial that most people overlook entirely in their manifestation journey. Your mind isn't just thinking thoughts randomly throughout the day. It's operating as a powerful broadcasting station, constantly transmitting signals into the field of infinite possibilities. Every single moment, you're sending out frequencies, vibrations, energetic signatures that the universe receives with absolute precision. And here's what's fascinating. The universe doesn't pick and choose which signals to respond to based on what would be best for you. It responds to the strongest, most consistent signal you're broadcasting. When you complain, you're creating static interference in your signal. Imagine trying to tune into your favorite radio station, but all you hear is crackling noise and distortion. That's what complaint does to your manifestation signal. When you doubt, you create disruption, sending mixed messages that confuse the creative mechanism. It's like trying to drive while simultaneously pressing the gas and the brake. You might move forward slightly, but mostly you just create friction and heat without getting anywhere meaningful. If this video gave you even one insight that shifted your perspective, show some love by hitting the like button. It's a simple gesture that helps this message reach more people who are searching for real answers. But when you declare something with faith, with clarity, with unwavering certainty, you send out a strong, pure signal that cuts through everything else. This is the signal the universe locks onto. This is the frequency that activates the law of attraction in your favor. Joseph Murphy discovered that the subconscious mind and the universal mind operate on the same principles. They both respond to the dominant impression, the most consistent signal, the thought patterns you feed them most frequently and with the greatest emotional intensity. Now, if you're sitting there feeling exhausted from watching everyone else's dreams materialize while yours seem perpetually stuck in some cosmic traffic jam, this is your wake-up call. This is your moment of truth. There's a reason why some people seem to manifest effortlessly while others struggle, despite doing all the right things. The difference isn't luck, isn't favoritism from the universe, isn't some secret technique they know that you don't. The difference is signal clarity and strength. Before this month ends, you have a genuine opportunity to realign your entire broadcasting system. This isn't about adding more techniques to your manifestation toolkit. This is about a fundamental transformation in the quality of signal you're sending out into the world. You must shift from the weak, uncertain frequency of hoping to the powerful, clear frequency of knowing. You must move from the scattered energy of wishing to the focused authority of commanding. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. This transformation doesn't happen by accident. It requires conscious effort, deliberate practice, and unwavering commitment to changing the patterns. You've been running on autopilot for years. The impact of this shift cannot be overstated. When you clean up your signal, when you stop broadcasting complaint and doubt and start broadcasting certainty and faith, the universe has no choice but to respond differently. It's not magic, it's mechanics. It's the hidden law behind all manifestation that operates whether you believe in it or not, whether you understand it or not. Your job is simply to align with it deliberately rather than accidentally. Working against it. Drop "I'm realigning my signal" in the comments if you're committed to making this shift happen. There's something I need to address, because I know some of you might be thinking, isn't commanding the universe a bit arrogant? Shouldn't I be more humble in my approach? And I completely understand that concern, because we've been conditioned to believe that humility means making ourselves small, diminishing our desires, apologizing for wanting more. But here's the revelation that changes everything. Commanding the universe isn't arrogance, it's alignment. Think about this for a moment. You are made of the same substance as the stars, the same creative intelligence that orchestrates galaxies, that transforms tiny seeds into magnificent trees, that causes your heart to beat without you having to think about it. That intelligence flows through you. You're not separate from it. You're not standing outside of creation looking in, hoping to get noticed. You are an expression of the creative power itself. When you issue a command in faith, you're not being bossy or entitled. You're simply affirming your divine partnership with the infinite. You're remembering who you truly are. Joseph Murphy taught that this recognition is the foundation of all successful manifestation. When you understand your true relationship with the creative forces of the universe, commanding becomes as natural as breathing. It's not about forcing anything, it's about recognizing what's already true and speaking from that place of knowing. The ocean doesn't beg to make waves, the sun doesn't ask permission to shine, they simply express their nature. And your nature is to create, to command, to manifest the desires that have been planted in your heart by the same intelligence that created you. But here's where many people stumble even after understanding this principle. They try to command with vague, unclear intentions, and then wonder why the universe seems confused about what to deliver. The creative mechanism responds to specificity. It cannot manifest what you haven't clearly defined. When you say something like, "I want more money," the universe could technically fulfill that with $1 and call it done. More is more, right? But that's not what you actually want. The universe doesn't make assumptions about your desires. It doesn't fill in the blanks or guess what you really mean. It obeys the exact specifications you give it through your thoughts, words, and emotions. This is why clarity becomes one of the most powerful tools in your manifestation arsenal. Vague desires produce vague results. Fuzzy intentions create fuzzy outcomes. But crystal clear commands delivered with conviction and faith, those penetrate the subconscious mind with laser precision and set the entire creative mechanism into focused action. Before this month concludes, you need to make a crucial decision about what you're actually commanding. Not 10 things, not a scattered wish list of random desires, but one clear, specific intention that you can pour your faith into completely. Write it down, but don't write it as a wish or a hope. Frame it as a decree, as a statement of what already is in the spiritual realm and is now making its way into physical form. The difference between "I hope I can find a better job" and "I now occupy the perfect position that fully utilizes my talents and compensates me generously" is enormous. One carries the energy of uncertainty and lack. The other carries the authority of someone who knows their value and expects the universe to match it. The journey from vague hoping to specific commanding requires you to get honest about what you actually want and then bold enough to claim it without apology. Write "Clarity creates power" in the comments if this insight is landing for you right now. Once you have that clarity, the next layer of transformation involves how you actually speak that desire into existence. The words you choose carry vastly different energetic signatures, and your subconscious mind is incredibly sensitive to these subtle differences. When you say, "I hope I find a better job," you're essentially admitting that you don't have it, you're not sure you'll get it, and you're leaving it up to chance. That statement is drenched in uncertainty, in powerlessness, in the energy of someone who sees themselves as a victim of circumstance, waiting for luck to change. But when you transform that same desire into "I now receive the perfect job that aligns with my purpose and multiplies my income easily," everything shifts. Can you feel the difference? That's not a wish floating in the air hoping to be caught. That's a decree spoken with authority. It's a statement of what is, not what might be. The word "now" places it in present time. The phrase "I receive" positions you as the one in control, the one who is accepting what's already yours. There's no begging in that statement, no uncertainty, no room for doubt to creep in. This distinction might seem small on the surface, but it creates a massive impact in the invisible realm where manifestation actually happens. Your subconscious mind responds to the emotional tone behind your words far more than the words themselves. When you speak from a place of hoping, your subconscious registers lack. When you speak from a place of decreeing, your subconscious registers certainty. And certainty is the language that activates the creative mechanism. Joseph Murphy understood something profound about this process. Your words are the structure of your command, but your emotions are the fuel that powers the entire manifestation engine. You can say the most perfect affirmation, craft the most precise decree, but if the emotional energy behind those words is fear, anxiety, or desperation, you're essentially putting the wrong fuel in the tank. Commanding with fear creates chaos in the signal you're broadcasting. It's like trying to navigate with a compass that's being held next to a magnet. The needle spins wildly and you end up more lost than when you started. But when you command with faith, with peace, with genuine gratitude, as if your desire has already materialized, you create perfect order in your signal. The universe receives a clear, strong transmission and responds accordingly. This is why so many people fail despite using the right words. They're speaking decrees while feeling desperate. They're affirming abundance while gripped by anxiety about their bills. The emotional fuel contradicts the verbal command, and the result is manifestation paralysis. The transformation you're seeking requires you to get behind the scenes of your own consciousness and examine what you're really feeling when you speak your desires. Are you speaking from peace or panic? From gratitude or grasping? From faith or fear? Your honest answer to that question reveals exactly why your manifestations have or haven't shown up. The hidden truth is that emotion is the accelerant that either speeds up or completely stalls your manifestation journey depending on its quality. Type, "Faith fuels my command," if you're understanding how emotion amplifies everything you declare. So how do you cultivate that faith-filled emotional state when your current circumstances are screaming the opposite of what you're trying to manifest? This is where gratitude becomes your most powerful ally. And I'm not talking about the superficial, "be grateful for what you have" platitude that gets thrown around casually. I'm talking about gratitude as a strategic, deliberate tool that functions as the ultimate amplifier in your manifestation work. When you feel genuine gratitude for your desire as if it's already manifested, something extraordinary happens in your energetic field. You're telling the universe, on the deepest level, "I already have this." And the universe, which always seeks to match your dominant vibration, immediately begins rushing to align your physical reality with that inner state of completion. This isn't just positive thinking or feel-good psychology. This is energetic alignment at its most potent. Gratitude transforms your entire vibrational signature from one of lack and wanting to one of fulfillment and having. Joseph Murphy discovered that the subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between something vividly imagined with emotion and something actually experienced. When you cultivate gratitude for your desired outcome as if it's already present, your subconscious accepts this as current reality and begins working tirelessly to make the outer world conform to this inner conviction. The impact of this shift cannot be overstated because gratitude short-circuits the anxiety loop that keeps most people trapped in perpetual wanting. But here's where the journey gets real, and this is something that separates those who actually manifest from those who just talk about it. You cannot make a powerful decree once, feel grateful for a moment, and then spend the rest of your day worrying about when or how it will show up. That's like planting a seed, watering it once, and then digging it up repeatedly to check if it's growing. You destroy the very thing you're trying to create. Manifestation requires maintenance. You must hold the frequency until the physical manifestation is complete. This means daily reinforcement of your decree, spoken with the same conviction and emotional power as the first time you declared it. Morning and night become your sacred times to realign your signal, to reaffirm your command, to saturate your subconscious with the truth of your desire already fulfilled. This isn't superstition or empty ritual. This is confidence in action. This is you deliberately tuning your instrument until the sound is absolutely perfect. Think of a musician preparing for a performance. They don't practice their piece once and hope it sounds good on stage. They rehearse repeatedly, making tiny adjustments, refining the tone, perfecting the timing, until the music flows effortlessly. Your manifestation practice works exactly the same way. Each time you speak your decree with feeling, you're refining the signal, strengthening the neural pathways in your brain, deepening the groove in your subconscious mind. Repetition isn't about convincing the universe. It's about convincing yourself at the deepest level until doubt has no place left to hide. The transformation from sporadic hoping to consistent commanding requires this kind of dedication. It's a decision to prioritize your inner work above the noise of external circumstances, to trust the process even when physical evidence hasn't caught up yet. Comment, "I commit to daily practice," if you're ready to maintain your frequency with unwavering consistency. Now, I know what some of you are thinking because I've heard this concern countless times. But if I keep repeating the same decree over and over, doesn't that mean I'm just trying to convince myself of something that isn't true? Isn't that just self-deception? And this is where understanding the mechanics behind manifestation becomes absolutely critical, because what looks like repetition on the surface is actually something far more sophisticated happening beneath. Your subconscious mind is like a vast recording device that has been capturing every experience, every belief, every statement you've heard since childhood. Right now, it's playing back old programs, old decisions you made about yourself and the world, most of which were formed when you were too young to consciously choose them. These programs run automatically in the background of your consciousness, creating the patterns you see showing up repeatedly in your life. The person who always struggles with money has a money program running. The person who can't seem to find love has a relationship program playing on loop. Repetition of your decree isn't about convincing yourself of a lie. It's about installing a new program, a new pattern, a more empowering truth that overrides the old limiting beliefs. Joseph Murphy taught that the subconscious accepts whatever is impressed upon it most consistently and with the greatest emotional intensity. This is how transformation actually happens at the deepest level. You're not pretending, you're reprogramming. Think about learning any new skill. When you first learned to drive, you had to consciously think about every single action. Check the mirror, press the brake, turn the wheel, watch the road. It felt awkward and overwhelming, but through repetition, those actions became automatic. Now you drive without thinking about it. The same principle applies to manifestation. Through consistent repetition of your decree with feeling, you're training your subconscious to accept this new reality as natural, as normal, as the way things are. But here's where most people sabotage their own progress, and this is crucial to understand. They declare their desire in the morning with conviction, but then spend the rest of the day entertaining thoughts that completely contradict what they just affirmed. They say, "Abundance flows to me easily," and then immediately check their bank account and panic. They declare, "I am healthy and vibrant," and then spend an hour researching their symptoms online. This constant back and forth creates a tug of war in the subconscious mind that leads nowhere. The journey from where you are to where you want to be requires you to become vigilant about the thoughts you allow to dominate your mental space throughout the day. Not obsessive, not anxious, but gently aware. When you catch yourself slipping back into old patterns of worry or doubt, you don't beat yourself up. You simply redirect. You return to your decree. You reconnect with the feeling of gratitude for your desire already fulfilled. This redirection is the real work, the behind-the-scenes effort that creates lasting change. The impact of this kind of mental discipline ripples out into every area of your life, because you're not just manifesting a specific thing anymore. You're becoming a different person, someone who commands rather than begs, someone who expects good rather than braces for disappointment. Drop "I redirect with love" in the comments if you're committed to this gentle but powerful practice. As you develop this practice of redirecting your thoughts, you're going to encounter one of the most persistent obstacles on the manifestation journey, and I need to prepare you for it, because if you don't recognize it for what it is, it will derail everything you're building. That obstacle is doubt. Not the loud, obvious kind of doubt that screams, "This will never work." I'm talking about the sneaky, subtle whisper that sounds almost reasonable, almost logical, almost like it's trying to protect you. Doubt shows up disguised as realism. It says things like, "Be practical, don't get your hopes up, you're being unrealistic." It sounds like the voice of wisdom, but it's actually the voice of fear wearing a sophisticated mask. And here's what makes doubt so destructive. It's like constantly opening the oven door while trying to bake a cake. Every time you check on your manifestation, every time you question whether it's working, every time you look for evidence in your current circumstances, you're letting the heat escape. You're interrupting the process. You're essentially telling the universe, "I don't really believe this is happening," even while claiming you have faith. Joseph Murphy understood that the human mind has a peculiar characteristic. It cannot hold two completely opposing thoughts at the exact same moment. You cannot simultaneously believe in abundance and lack. You cannot hold faith and fear in the same mental space. One will always dominate. The hidden truth most people miss is that whichever voice you feed, whichever thought pattern you give your attention and energy to, that's the one that grows stronger and eventually takes control of your manifestation results. This is why the transformation from doubt to certainty isn't about having a one-time revelation and never doubting again. It's about developing the skill of catching doubt the moment it appears and immediately replacing it with a statement of faith. When that voice whispers, "You'll never make it," you don't engage in a long, philosophical debate with it. You don't try to logically argue it into submission. You simply outspeak it. You say with authority, "Everything is working in my favor." When doubt tries to convince you that you're too late, that you've missed your window, that it's already too late to turn things around, you respond instantly, "I'm right on divine timing." You don't give doubt a platform. You don't let it present its entire case. You interrupt it, override it, replace it with the opposite truth, spoken with conviction. This is mental training at its finest, and it requires the same kind of dedication an athlete brings to physical training. The journey of commanding the universe successfully means training your mind to obey faith rather than fear. Think of your consciousness as having two competing voices constantly vying for control. The voice of faith says, "It's already done. It's on its way. All is well." The voice of doubt says, "Nothing's changing. This isn't working. You're fooling yourself." Most people let these voices battle it out and wonder why they get mixed results. The person who masters manifestation understands that they get to decide which voice wins, and they make that decision moment by moment throughout each day. The impact of this practice compounds over time. Each time you choose faith over doubt, you strengthen the neural pathways of certainty in your brain. You make it easier to believe next time. You build momentum in the direction of your desire. Right? Faith wins if you're ready to outspeak every doubt that tries to steal your manifestation. Now, I want to address something that might surprise you, especially if you've dismissed manifestation as purely spiritual or metaphysical fantasy. What Joseph Murphy taught decades ago is now being validated by cutting-edge science, particularly in the field of quantum physics. And this is where things get absolutely fascinating, because we're discovering that the universe operates in ways that sound almost too extraordinary to believe, yet they're measurable, repeatable, and documented. Quantum physicists have discovered that at the subatomic level, everything exists in a state of pure potential until it's observed. Particles literally exist in multiple states simultaneously until consciousness interacts with them, at which point they collapse into a specific measurable reality. Your focus, your belief, your observation literally collapses infinite potential into physical form. This isn't mystical thinking or spiritual bypassing. This is documented physics happening in laboratories around the world. What this means for your manifestation journey is profound. Your thoughts aren't just pleasant ideas floating through your mind with no consequence. They're actual instructions being sent to the quantum field. Your emotions aren't just feelings you experience. They're confirmation signals that tell the field which version of reality to collapse into form. And your actions aren't separate from your thoughts and feelings. They're the physical proof that locks in the manifestation, the final piece that brings the invisible into the visible. The hidden truth behind all of this is that you're not trying to manipulate reality from the outside. You're an integral part of the reality-creating process itself. Every moment, you're collapsing waves of possibility into concrete experiences through where you place your attention and what you believe is true. Most people do this unconsciously, which is why they keep recreating the same patterns over and over. But when you understand the mechanics, when you grasp that you're literally participating in creation itself, you can start doing it deliberately. This brings us to something critical that stops so many people from receiving what's already trying to reach them. How many times have you received a clear, intuitive hit, a gut feeling that said, call that person, or apply for that opportunity, or take that risk? But you hesitated, you second-guessed yourself, you needed more proof, more certainty, more guarantees before you'd move. And in that hesitation, in that moment of doubt, the opportunity passed by like a train you were too afraid to board. Hesitation is expensive. It costs you blessings you can't even calculate because you never see what could have been. The universe often delivers your desires wrapped in packages that don't look like what you expected. The perfect opportunity might come through an unexpected conversation, a random encounter, a sudden impulse to try something new. But if you need to analyze every detail, if you demand to see the entire staircase before you take the first step, you'll stay frozen exactly where you are. The transformation from hesitation to action requires you to trust your inner guidance more than your logical mind's demand for certainty. Your intuition is connected to intelligence far beyond what your conscious mind can process. When you get that nudge, that whisper, that gentle pull towards something, that's the universe saying, here, this is part of your manifestation arriving. Type, I trust my intuition if you're ready to move when guidance comes, even before logic catches up. Learning to trust your intuition is one thing, but understanding how to recognize when the universe is actually guiding you versus when you're just acting from anxiety or desperation is a skill that requires refinement. Because here's what happens once you issue your command into the universe. The creative forces immediately begin orchestrating circumstances, arranging synchronicities, aligning people and opportunities in ways your conscious mind could never plan. But this divine arrangement means nothing if you're not awake enough to recognize the breadcrumbs being laid out before you. Action is what completes the circuit between the invisible and the visible. You can have perfect clarity, unwavering faith, and powerful emotion behind your decree. But if you ignore the opportunities that start appearing, you're like someone who orders food delivery and then refuses to open the door when it arrives. The universe can only meet you where you're willing to show up. Inspired action is your way of demonstrating that you're serious, that you're ready, that you're not just daydreaming, but actually preparing to receive. But this is where so many people stumble, and I've seen it happen countless times. They become paralyzed trying to figure out which action to take. They analyze every option to death, trying to calculate which choice will guarantee success, which path is absolutely risk-free. And in that analysis paralysis, they miss the gentle guidance that's already present. The right action doesn't announce itself with trumpets and fireworks. It doesn't come with a detailed instruction manual and a money-back guarantee. The right action feels peaceful. Even if it's slightly uncomfortable because it's new or unfamiliar, there's an underlying sense of rightness to it. It arrives as a gentle nudge, not as pressure or force. Joseph Murphy taught that there's a distinct difference between inspired action and forced action. Forced action feels heavy, anxious, like you're pushing a boulder uphill. You're trying to make something happen through sheer willpower. Inspired action feels lighter, more natural, like you're being pulled forward by an invisible thread towards something that wants to meet you. You might feel a sudden urge to reach out to someone you haven't spoken to in years, and your logical mind immediately objects with all the reasons why that's awkward or pointless. But that nudge persists gently. That's inspired action trying to guide you toward a connection that's part of your manifestation path. You might feel drawn to attend an event you'd normally skip, to take a different route home, to pick up a book that catches your eye. These seemingly small decisions often lead to the breakthrough moments that change everything. The transformation from waiting passively for your manifestation to actively participating in its arrival requires you to develop sensitivity to these whispers. The universe doesn't usually shout. It whispers first. And if you ignore the whispers long enough, sometimes the lesson has to arrive more forcefully. But why wait for that? Why not tune in to the subtle guidance now and follow it with trust, even when you can't see the full picture of where it's leading? Comment: I follow the whispers if you're committed to recognizing and acting on gentle guidance. One thing I need to clarify, because there's a massive misunderstanding about what faith actually looks like in practice. So many people think that commanding the universe means sitting cross-legged on the floor, staring intensely at the ceiling, demanding their miracles with clenched fists and furrowed brows. They approach manifestation like it's a battle they have to win through sheer intensity. But that's not faith. That's frustration wearing the costume of spirituality. That's anxiety with good posture. True faith has an entirely different quality to it. It's light, it's joyful. There's even a playfulness to it, because when you genuinely know something is already yours, when you trust the process completely, you can relax, you can laugh. You can move through your day with this quiet confidence that the delivery truck carrying your desires is already on its way, even if it's currently stuck in cosmic traffic. You don't need to track the package obsessively or call the universe every hour, demanding an update on its location. Joseph Murphy emphasized this lightness repeatedly in his teachings because he understood that heavy, desperate energy actually repels what you're trying to attract. Think about it in human relationships. When someone approaches you with desperate, needy energy, demanding your attention and validation, your natural instinct is to back away. But when someone approaches with light, confident, joyful energy, you're drawn to them. The universe operates on the same principle. Joy and certainty are magnetic. Desperation and force are repellent. This shift in how you hold your desires changes everything about your manifestation journey. Instead of white-knuckling your way through affirmations, you start enjoying the process. Instead of obsessively checking for signs and getting discouraged when they don't appear on your timeline, you trust divine timing. And here's where the real test comes, the one that separates those who manifest consistently from those who give up right before their breakthrough. There will come a moment, maybe it's already here for you, when the weight of waiting feels absolutely unbearable. Your current circumstances look completely opposite to what you've been commanding. Logic screams that nothing is working. Every fiber of your being wants to quit, to admit defeat, to stop fooling yourself with these spiritual practices that seem to produce zero results. And here's what you need to understand with absolute clarity. That moment right there, that darkest hour before the dawn, that's often exactly when your breakthrough is closest. The universe has this interesting way of testing your resolve right before delivering your desire. It's like the final exam before graduation. Everything you've been building, all the faith you've cultivated, all the mental discipline you've developed, it gets tested when circumstances look most hopeless. Most people fail this test. They quit one day before their miracle would have arrived. They abandon their command right before the universe was about to rearrange everything in their favor. Every delay you've experienced isn't denial. It's divine preparation happening behind the scenes, arranging people, circumstances, and timing perfectly so that when your manifestation arrives, it arrives in the absolute best way possible. Right? I hold on if you're committed to staying. Faithful even when tested. Understanding that delays are preparation rather than denial shifts everything. But knowledge alone doesn't create transformation. You need practical tools that anchor this understanding into your daily reality. So here's something powerful I want you to do, ideally before this day ends. Stand in front of a mirror, look yourself directly in the eyes, and speak this declaration with absolute conviction. Everything that belongs to me by divine right is now manifesting with ease. Nothing and no one can stop it. Now, I know it might feel awkward at first. You might even laugh at yourself or feel silly talking to your reflection. But push through that initial discomfort, because what's happening in that moment goes far deeper than you realize. When you look into your own eyes and speak with authority, you're communicating directly with your subconscious mind. You're bypassing all the usual mental chatter and doubt. You're making a declaration to the deepest part of yourself, the part that actually runs the show behind the scenes of your conscious awareness. Say it as if you've already received everything you've commanded, because spiritually, you have. In the realm where all possibilities exist simultaneously, your desire is already fulfilled. You're simply catching up to it in physical time. Joseph Murphy taught that this kind of direct eye-to-eye declaration creates an imprint in your subconscious that's incredibly powerful. It's you taking full responsibility for your creative power. It's you stepping into the role of commander rather than beggar. But declarations alone, no matter how powerful, need to be supported by something equally important in your daily life. You must begin acting as if your desire has already manifested. This isn't about fake it till you make it or pretending in a superficial way. This is about genuinely embodying the energy of someone who has what you desire. How would you walk through your day if you knew with certainty that your manifestation was complete? What would your energy feel like? What decisions would you make? If you're commanding financial abundance, start by showing genuine gratitude for the abundance already present in your life right now. The roof over your head, the food you ate today, the device you're watching this on, the sunlight streaming through your window. Gratitude doesn't just feel good. It multiplies what you already have by signaling to the universe that you recognize yourself as someone who has, not someone who lacks. This shift in identity is everything. If you're manifesting love, you can't sit around feeling lonely and desperate waiting for someone to complete you. You must start radiating love now. Be loving to yourself, to strangers, to everyone you encounter. Become the vibration of what you want to attract. The universe doesn't bring you what you want. It brings you who you are. If you want love but you're vibrating loneliness, guess what keeps showing up? But when you vibrate love, when you embody it fully before it arrives in the form you're expecting, you become a magnet for exactly that experience. The journey from commanding to receiving requires this kind of alignment between your words, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. They all need to point in the same direction. Comment, "I embody my desire," if you're ready to start living as if it's already yours. When you truly grasp what it means to embody your desire, something shifts in how you relate to the entire manifestation process. You stop chasing, and this is one of the most profound revelations Joseph Murphy wanted people to understand. You don't chase what rightfully belongs to you. You don't run after it desperately, trying to force doors open or convince people to give you opportunities. That energy of chasing comes from lack, from fear that if you don't grab it now, it will disappear forever. But commanding works on an entirely different principle. When you command something into form, you're not trying to convince the universe of anything. You're not presenting arguments about why you deserve it or why it would be good for you. You're simply placing your order and trusting the cosmic kitchen to prepare it. You're reminding the infinite intelligence of what you've already claimed as yours. The delay you're experiencing isn't denial. The timing that frustrates you isn't random. The universe never forgets your order. It's working behind the scenes, aligning circumstances, people, and events in ways you can't possibly orchestrate with your limited human perspective. This understanding completely transforms how you pray, how you speak to the divine, how you interact with the creative forces of existence. Most people pray like beggars, standing outside a locked gate, hoping someone might take pity on them and toss them a few scraps. They approach prayer with heads bowed in shame, voices trembling with unworthiness, asking, "Please, please, please," as if they have no right to expect anything good. Before this month ends, you need to make a fundamental decision about how you're going to communicate with the universe going forward. Will you continue approaching it as a beggar, or will you step into your true identity as a co-creator? Because that's what you actually are. You're not separate from the creative power. You're not an insignificant speck hoping for favors. You're an expression of divine intelligence itself. And when you pray from that understanding, everything changes. Start praying like someone who knows their words carry weight, who understands that their decrees set forces in motion, who expects the universe to respond because that's how the law works. Speak with authority, not arrogance. Walk through your day with confidence, not because everything looks perfect, but because you know something is happening beyond what's visible. Live in joyful expectation, not anxious waiting. There's a massive difference between those two states. The moment you make this shift from fear-based begging to faith-based commanding, from worried hoping to confident knowing, the energy around your entire situation begins to move. Things that were stuck suddenly unstick. Doors that were closed suddenly crack open. People who could help you suddenly appear. Opportunities that seemed impossible suddenly become available. It's not that the universe suddenly started paying attention. It's that you finally started broadcasting the right signal, the one that activates the law of attraction in your favor rather than working against it. The hidden truth is that most people spend years in the energy of fear, doubt, and unworthiness, and then wonder why their circumstances reflect exactly that. Put "I am a co-creator" in the comments if you're ready to shift how you pray and command. Stepping into this identity as a co-creator isn't just empowering, it's actually revealing the truth that's been there all along. Here's something that might completely flip your perspective on manifestation, and it's a truth Joseph Murphy emphasized repeatedly throughout his work. You've never been waiting on the universe. Think about that for a moment. All this time you thought you were sitting here patiently or impatiently, waiting for the universe to finally notice you, to get around to your request, to decide you're worthy enough to receive. But that's the complete opposite of what's actually happening. The universe has been waiting on you. It's been waiting for you to step into certainty. It's been waiting for you to stop contradicting your desires with doubt. It's been waiting for you to claim what's yours with the authority of someone who understands their true nature. You possess the power right now, in this very moment, to command what belongs to you. Not because you're luckier than anyone else, not because you're more special or more deserving, but simply because you're connected to the same infinite source that governs all of creation. That connection isn't something you need to earn or achieve. It already exists. It's been there since before you were born. The only question is whether you're going to consciously use it or continue wandering through life unaware of the incredible creative power flowing through you every single second. This realization changes everything about how you approach your desires, because it removes the entire narrative of waiting, hoping, and wondering if you'll ever be blessed enough to receive. So here's what I want you to do today, and this is important. Choose one thing you've been wanting, one desire you've been doubting, one dream that feels just out of reach. Just one. Don't scatter your energy across 20 different manifestations. Focus your power on one clear intention. Now, I want you to speak it into being. Say it out loud with conviction. Write it down as a completed fact. Feel it in your body as if it's already done, already yours, already manifesting in physical form right now. And then, and this is where most people struggle, release it. Let it go. Don't cling to it desperately. Don't check on it anxiously. Don't worry about the how or the when. Just know with absolute certainty that it's handled. Trust that the universe heard your command clearly and is already orchestrating everything needed to bring it into form. When it manifests, and it will, I want you to smile and say to yourself, of course it did. The universe always delivers when I command with faith. That response is crucial because it reinforces the pattern you're creating. It trains your subconscious to expect success, to recognize that commanding works, to trust the process even more deeply next time. Every successful manifestation builds momentum for the next one. Every time you prove to yourself that this works, it becomes easier to believe, easier to command with certainty, easier to release without anxiety. The transformation happening right now isn't just about getting one thing you want. It's about completely rewiring your relationship with reality itself, understanding that you're not a passive observer hoping for good things to happen. Drop "it's already done" if you're choosing your desire and commanding it into form today. Understanding that you're an active participant in creation is thrilling, but there's a crucial skill that separates those who manifest occasionally from those who manifest consistently. It's not enough to know how to command. You must also develop the ability to hold that command without wavering. This is where most people completely sabotage themselves without even realizing it. They speak bold, powerful words one moment, declaring their desire with conviction, and then 5 minutes later, they're scrolling through social media, spiraling into doubt, or checking their bank account and panicking, or talking to a friend about how nothing ever works out for them. Every time you do that, every time you speak your command and then immediately contradict it with worry, you're essentially planting a seed in fertile soil and then digging it up the next morning to check if it's growing. You destroy the very thing you're trying to create. The soil of manifestation, the subconscious mind, requires consistent input. It needs unwavering trust. It responds to the dominant pattern, not the fleeting moments of faith sandwiched between hours of doubt. Joseph Murphy used a brilliant analogy that makes this concept crystal clear. Think about what happens when you go to a restaurant. You look at the menu, make your decision, place your order with the server, and then what do? You don't jump up and run into the kitchen every 2 minutes demanding to know if the chef remembered your order. You don't stand over the stove supervising the cooking process. You don't question whether the ingredients are being prepared correctly. You simply sit down, relax, maybe prepare your napkin and fork, and you expect your food to arrive. That's faith in action. You trust the process even though you can't see it happening. You know the chef is working behind the scenes. You understand there's a system in place that takes your order and transforms it into a physical meal. You don't need to witness every step to believe it's working. That same trust, that same relaxed expectation is exactly what's required for manifestation. Once you've placed your order with the universe, once you've spoken your command with clarity and feeling, your job is to prepare yourself to receive, not to anxiously monitor every detail of how it's coming together. But our minds aren't naturally trained to operate this way, especially if you've spent years in survival mode, in scarcity, in the habit of worrying about everything. The journey from anxious checking to peaceful trusting is a practice, and it might be the most important practice you ever develop. Every time you catch yourself trying to dig up your seed to check its progress, you gently redirect yourself back to trust. You remind yourself that the universe is a far better orchestrator than your limited human perspective could ever be. The impact of mastering this skill cannot be overstated, because when you truly learn to hold your command without interference, manifestation speeds up exponentially. Right? I trust the process. If you're committed to stopping the constant checking and allowing your manifestation to unfold. Once you commit to trusting the process, something interesting often happens that catches most people completely off guard. The universe has this peculiar way of testing whether you truly believe what you've been commanding or if you're just playing spiritual games. And these tests come in the most unexpected, sometimes frustrating forms. You command financial abundance with conviction, and the very next day, an unexpected bill shows up in your mailbox. You decree peace and harmony in your life, and suddenly chaos erupts from three different directions. You affirm that love is flowing into your experience, and your ex randomly texts you after months of silence. Most people see these situations and immediately assume their manifestation failed. They think the universe is mocking them or that they did something wrong. But here's the hidden truth that Joseph Murphy wanted everyone to understand. These aren't signs of failure. They're tests. The universe is essentially asking, do you really believe what you just commanded, or will you flinch the moment circumstances appear to contradict your decree? It's checking whether your faith is genuine or just wishful thinking that crumbles under the slightest pressure. When that test arrives, and it will, your response determines everything. If you panic, if you take the appearance as proof that nothing is working, if you abandon your command and slip back into fear, you've essentially told the universe, never mind, I don't actually believe that. But if you hold steady, if you maintain your inner knowing despite outer appearances, if you smile and think, this is just the old pattern clearing out to make room for the new, you pass the test. And the moment you pass it, things shift rapidly in your favor. This is where the law of assumption becomes your most powerful tool. You must assume with every fiber of your being that your wish has already manifested. Not that it will manifest someday if you're lucky, not that it might happen if conditions align perfectly, but that it already has manifested in the spiritual realm and is simply making its way into physical form. Walk through your day as if it's done. Make decisions from that place. Speak from that reality. Feel from that truth. When worry tries to creep into your mind, you immediately interrupt it and say firmly, no, it's already handled. When fear whispers its favorite question, what if it doesn't happen? You reply without hesitation, it already has. I'm just catching up to it in time. This isn't denial of your current circumstances. This is choosing to think from your desire rather than about your desire. There's a massive difference between those two perspectives. Thinking about your desire keeps it out there, separate from you, something you're trying to reach. Thinking from your desire means you've already claimed it as yours. You're already living in the reality where it exists. That shift in perspective, that subtle but profound change in how you relate to what you want, creates an entirely different energetic signature that the universe responds to immediately. Comment, I think from my desire, if you're ready to hold steady when the tests come. Thinking from your desire rather than about it becomes much easier when you have a practical framework to follow, something simple enough to remember but powerful enough to create real transformation. Joseph Murphy's teachings can be distilled into what I call the three-part formula for manifestation, and it works every single time when applied consistently. First, you speak it. Your words are not just sounds disappearing into the air. They're commands that are either building your future or tearing it down. Every sentence you utter is casting a vote for the reality you'll experience tomorrow. Second, you see it. This is where your imagination becomes the workshop of creation. You don't just think about your desire from a distance, you step into the mental movie of already having it. You live there in your mind with such vivid detail and emotion that your subconscious can't tell the difference between the imagined experience and a real one. You feel the satisfaction, the joy, the relief of already possessing what you've commanded. Third, you seal it. This is where gratitude comes in as the final lock that secures your manifestation. When you give thanks for something before it appears physically, you're signaling completion to the universe. You're saying, this is done. I've received it. Thank you. That frequency of gratitude is the highest vibration you can hold, and it magnetizes your desire toward you faster than any other emotion. When you practice this framework consistently, not occasionally, not when you remember, but as a daily, non-negotiable practice, you create unstoppable momentum. But there's something working against this framework every single day, and most people don't even realize they're doing it. It's the casual, careless language you use when you're not thinking about manifestation. You wake up and say, "I'm so broke." You look at your schedule and complain, "I never have time for anything." Something goes wrong and you automatically respond, "Of course, things never work out for me." You think these are just throwaway comments, harmless expressions of momentary frustration. But they're not. They're spells. They're commands being registered by your subconscious mind and broadcast into the universe as your true expectations. Joseph Murphy emphasized this point relentlessly because he understood that the subconscious doesn't have a sense of humor. It doesn't know you're joking or exaggerating. It takes everything literally and works tirelessly to prove your statements true. So when you casually say, "I'm broke," your subconscious hears that as an instruction and immediately begins creating circumstances that match that identity. The transformation you're seeking requires you to become extremely selective about the language you use, especially in those unguarded moments when you're not actively practicing manifestation techniques. Start speaking power into your life. Declare, "Money flows easily to me. My days are filled with ease and success. Everything is working in my favor." And here's the beautiful part. You don't even need to fully believe these statements when you first start saying them. Just say them, repeat them, saturate your consciousness with them until your subconscious eventually accepts them as the new truth. Type, "I speak my power," if you're committing to changing your everyday language starting right now. Changing your everyday language is powerful, but words alone only take you halfway. The real transformation happens when you activate your imagination with intention and consistency. Your imagination isn't just a place where you daydream or escape reality. It's literally your creation room, the invisible workshop where everything in your physical experience is first designed and built. Every single thing you see in the world around you, from the chair you're sitting on to the technology you're using to watch this, existed first in someone's imagination before it became physical. Joseph Murphy taught that the world you see with your eyes is merely an echo, a reflection of what's been imagined either consciously or unconsciously. If your outer world feels chaotic, limited, or stuck, it's because that's what's been playing on repeat in your inner world. The journey to a different reality begins by spending time daily in your imagination, not just casually thinking about your desire, but actually living it mentally with full sensory detail. Don't just picture yourself having more money. Feel the relief in your body. Sense the freedom in your chest. Experience the joy of knowing you're financially secure. Let those emotions wash over you completely. Your emotions are the blueprint that your subconscious uses to construct your reality. The more vividly you can feel your desire as already complete in your imagination, the faster your physical world rearranges itself to match that inner experience. This isn't wishful thinking or fantasy. This is deliberate creation using the most powerful tool you possess. But here's where many people stumble even after they've mastered commanding, speaking powerfully, and visualizing consistently. They can't let go. They hold on so tightly to their desire, gripping it with white knuckles, trying to control every detail of how and when it shows up. Letting go doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It means releasing your death grip on the process. It means trusting that the universe doesn't need your GPS directions. The infinite intelligence that orchestrates galaxies, that coordinates trillions of cells in your body without your conscious input, that transforms tiny seeds into massive trees, already knows the fastest, most perfect route to your manifestation. It can see connections and possibilities that your limited human perspective could never calculate. When you micromanage, when you insist it has to happen exactly this way, through exactly these people, at exactly this time, you actually block the flow. You're like someone standing in front of an open door, refusing to walk through because it doesn't look exactly like the door you imagined. The universe might be trying to deliver something even better than what you asked for through an unexpected route, but you can't receive it because you're too busy demanding it arrive your way. Once you've spoken your command with clarity, once you've believed it with your whole heart, once you've visualized it until it feels more real than your current circumstances, your next job is simple. Step into receiving energy. Stop pushing, forcing, and controlling. Start allowing, trusting, and expecting. Comment, "I release and receive," if you're ready to let go of control and trust the universe's perfect timing. Stepping into receiving energy sounds beautiful in theory, but what do you actually do when fear creeps back in? Because it will. You'll have moments when your faith feels shaky, when doubt whispers louder than your affirmations, when your current circumstances feel so overwhelming that maintaining a high vibration seems impossible. This is when you need what I call a vibrational reset, and it's one of the most practical tools Joseph Murphy would have endorsed for maintaining your manifestation momentum. A vibrational reset isn't complicated. It's simply any activity that shifts your energy from low to high, from heavy to light, from fear to joy. Put on your favorite music and let it move through you. Go for a walk and feel the sun on your face. Dance around your room like nobody's watching. Watch something that makes you laugh until your sides hurt. Speak your affirmations aloud with passion until you feel the shift happening inside. The specific activity doesn't matter nearly as much as the intention behind it, which is to interrupt the downward spiral and redirect your energy upward. Here's why this matters so profoundly. The universe doesn't mirror your current situation. It mirrors your current vibration. You could be broke right now, but vibrating abundance, and the universe will start sending you opportunities for wealth. You could be alone right now, but vibrating love, and the universe will start arranging encounters that lead to connection. The moment you raise your energy, you literally change what's approaching you in the field of infinite possibilities. This isn't metaphor. This is the mechanics of how manifestation actually works. But raising your vibration once doesn't create lasting transformation. This is where so many people give up prematurely and then claim that manifestation doesn't work. They try it for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, don't see immediate physical results, and abandon the practice entirely. Then they tell everyone that this stuff is nonsense. But the truth is, if your previous attempts at manifestation failed, it's not because the process doesn't work. It's because you stopped working the process before it had time to fully materialize. The universe never stops responding to you. Never. Every single moment, the signal you're sending is being received and answered. But if you're constantly changing the channel, if today you're commanding abundance and tomorrow you're declaring poverty, if this week you're affirming success and next week you're complaining about failure, you never stay on one frequency long enough to receive the full transmission. Consistency is your secret weapon. And it's the one thing that separates people who manifest occasionally by accident from people who manifest deliberately and repeatedly. Think about building muscle at the gym. You don't lift weights once and expect to be strong. You show up consistently, day after day, week after week, and gradually your body transforms. Your consciousness works exactly the same way. Every time you choose faith over fear, every time you redirect your thoughts toward your desire, every time you raise your vibration intentionally, you're building spiritual muscle. Right? I stay consistent if you're committed to working this process until your manifestation arrives. Building that spiritual muscle through consistency is essential. But there's something else that often sabotages people's manifestation efforts long before consistency even becomes an issue. It's the deeply rooted belief that they don't deserve what they're asking for. I see this constantly. People apologize for wanting more. They feel guilty for dreaming big. They shrink their desires to fit what they think is reasonable or acceptable. They worry that wanting abundance makes them greedy, that desiring love makes them needy, that expecting good things makes them entitled. Let me be absolutely clear about something Joseph Murphy emphasized throughout his entire body of work. You are not selfish for desiring a beautiful life. You're not being materialistic or spiritually shallow for wanting financial freedom, perfect health, fulfilling relationships, or any other manifestation your heart genuinely desires. When you desire something deeply, persistently, something that won't leave you alone no matter how much you try to be realistic, that desire is there for a reason. It's not random. It's a divine assignment waiting for your belief to activate it. The very fact that you can imagine something, that you can dream it, that you can feel what it would be like to have it, is proof that it's meant for you. The universe doesn't torture you by planting desires in your heart that are impossible to fulfill. That would be cruel, and the creative intelligence behind all existence is not cruel. It's infinitely generous, constantly seeking to expand through you, to express more life, more love, more abundance through your unique experience. Your dreams are the universe's way of calling you forward into greater expression. The universe doesn't bless indecision, though. It doesn't respond to wishy-washy energy or half-hearted declarations. You must claim what you want boldly, without apology, without shame. Declare it, command it, own it completely as your divine right. This isn't arrogance, this is alignment with the truth of who you are and what you're here to create. So here's what I want you to commit to before this month ends. Every single morning, before you do anything else, before you reach for your phone, before you complain about needing coffee, before you scroll through social media and absorb everyone else's energy, I want you to speak this declaration with conviction. Today, everything that is mine by divine right flows to me easily, joyfully, and perfectly. Say it like it's already true, because in the realm where all possibilities exist, it is true. You're not trying to make it true. You're acknowledging what already is and allowing your physical reality to catch up with that truth. Then, and this is crucial, you must act in alignment with that declaration throughout your entire day. Make decisions from that place. Speak from that reality. Move through your world as someone who expects everything to work in their favor, because that's exactly who you are when you're aligned with your divine nature. Drop "I claim my divine right" in the comments if you're ready to stop apologizing and start commanding boldly. The truth is, if you've made it all the way to this point in the video, that's not an accident. Most people scroll away after 30 seconds. But you stayed, you listened, you absorbed. And that tells me something important about you. You're not just casually interested in manifestation. You're genuinely ready for transformation. You're tired of hoping and ready to start commanding. That's powerful. If this message landed with you, if something shifted inside while you were listening, I'd love for you to join this community by hitting that subscribe button. I create content like this regularly, diving deep into the principles that actually create lasting change, not just temporary motivation. And honestly, having you here makes this work even more meaningful. Leave me a comment saying, "This message was meant for me, so I know you made it all the way through." I read every single comment, and there's something special about seeing who's really committed to this journey. Your words create energy, not just for you, but for everyone else who reads them and realizes they're not alone in wanting more from life. And if you found value here, go ahead and hit that like button. It's a small thing, but it helps this message reach other people who need to hear it. People who are right where you were before you clicked on this video, searching for something that actually works. Now, there's another video right here that goes even deeper into how to remove the blocks that keep your manifestations stuck. It's the perfect next step after what we just covered. Click and continue with me over there because your transformation is just getting started.